Stay informed, stay ahead. Subscribe now to USA Fresh News.
America begins the day under the shadow of a tragedy that has shaken the political world and reverberated far beyond partisan lines. Charlie Kirk, the conservative commentator and founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed during a campus event in Utah. Authorities quickly confirmed his death and opened an investigation, but as of now, many details, including the motive, whether the attack was politically driven, and how the gunman gained access, remain unclear. What is certain is that the shockwaves are spreading across the country. Kirk, only in his early 30s, had built a high-profile career as a speaker, activist, and influential figure among conservative youth. His organization, Turning Point USA, had become a staple on college campuses, promoting right-of-center ideas and often drawing protest from student groups opposed to his politics. That backdrop makes the setting of his assassination especially jarring. A campus auditorium where debate, not violence, was supposed to prevail. Students who attended the event described the moment as surreal, a sudden eruption of chaos that shattered what should have been a routine lecture. Political leaders across the spectrum have condemned the attack. Republican lawmakers have described it as an assault not only on Kirk, but on free speech and the right of Americans to express political views without fear. Prominent Democrats have likewise expressed outrage and sorrow, stressing that violence has no place in political life, even amid deep divisions. That bipartisan chorus of condemnation underscores a rare moment of unity in an otherwise fractured climate, yet it also highlights the fragility of American democracy when words turn to weapons. Beyond the immediate tragedy, the attack is forcing reflection on the state of discourse in America. For years, heated rhetoric on social media, in partisan media outlets, and in campaign rallies has escalated. Critics argue that this constant drumbeat of anger dehumanizes political opponents, making violence more likely. Supporters of free speech counter that robust, even harsh debate is the bedrock of democracy and cannot be blamed for the actions of individuals bent on destruction. In the wake of Kirk's death, the country is once again confronted with the question, where is the line between expression and incitement? And how does a democracy safeguard one without threatening the other? For Kirk's supporters, the assassination is personal. He was a mentor to many young conservatives, a figure who encouraged them to engage with politics and push for change. For his critics, while disagreements with his ideas were sharp, the use of violence is universally acknowledged as abhorrent and destructive. Universities, too, are grappling with the implications. Higher education has long been a forum for debate, but when violence erupts in those spaces, it threatens the very mission of campuses as places of dialogue and learning. Charlie Kirk, 1993-2025. A life on the stage of American politics. He used to walk into noisy auditoriums and turn them into arenas of ideas. That was the case at Utah Valley University as well, until, in an instant that froze the nation, the microphone fell silent, and a young leader of 31 stopped being the protagonist of the debate and became the center of a national tragedy. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, died after being shot in the neck during an event in Orem, Utah, an attack that authorities described as a political assassination, one that reignited fears of escalating partisan violence in the United States. Headlines raced across the country, and the reactions from allies, critics, and institutions revealed the scale of the impact he had achieved in little more than a decade under the spotlight. Roots: Chicago suburbs, early ambition. Charles James Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and grew up in Prospect Heights, outside of Chicago. His mother worked as a mental health counselor. His father was an architect who participated in high-profile projects. The family was not politically prominent, but Kirk found his vocation in public life as a teenager. At Wheeling High School, he became involved in civic activities and quickly tested his first public challenges, a mix of youthful indignation and sharp timing that would mark his style. After a brief stint at Harper College, he chose to abandon the traditional academic path to pursue a single goal: to build a young, aggressive, permanently online conservative movement. The encounter with politics, and the creation of TPUSA. In 2012, at just 18, Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA, TPUSA. The timing was perfect. Turbocharged social media, conservative donors searching for new engines of mobilization, and a generation of students already battling culture wars in classrooms and feeds. With initial donations and an unusual talent for combative communication, he grew the organization from campus clubs into a sprawling ecosystem. National conferences, multimedia content, allied influencers, and a constant pipeline of viral videos. The appeal was simple and sharp: expose progressive bias at universities, confront woke professors, and turn indignation into belonging. Over time, new branches like Turning Point Action and Turning Point Faith emerged, reflecting his ambition to anchor politics, activism, and the church. Meteoric rise. From campus organizer to Trump-aligned star proximity, to Donald Trump transformed Kirk from a campus organizer into a national figure. He embraced, with both calculation and conviction, the style of Trumpism: shock, symbolic fights, and permanent presence in friendly media. TPUSA became a rite of passage for rising conservative stars. Its stages produced headlines, and its network delivered influence. To critics, Kirk embodied the hardening of campus politics: watch lists of professors, accusations of ideological persecution, and encouragement to turn classrooms into cultural tribunals. To supporters, he gave voice to students who felt like outsiders in progressive strongholds. The result was polarization and power. Personal life, marriage, faith, fatherhood. In 2021, Kirk married Erica Francevay. The couple had 2 children in 2022 and 2024. Publicly, he wove his political persona with elements of faith and personal testimony, drawing closer to influential pastors and making Christian conservative mobilization a central axis of his work, both in speeches and in the structure of Turning Point Faith. For his followers, family and religion became a moral counterweight to the chaos of politics. Style and controversies. Kirk thrived on friction. He was an agile debater, skilled at producing viral phrases and confrontations in Q&A sessions. As his profile grew, so did his controversies. Hardline positions on social issues, alignment with contested narratives about elections and the pandemic, and provocations that energized his base while inflaming critics. His method, pressuring to set the agenda, brought both audience and cost. His events were often surrounded by protests, his profiles by admiration and rejection in almost equal measure. Yet the formula worked for his central goal: building political relevance among young conservatives and rallying them into a cause with the aesthetic of a movement and the discipline of a machine. The final stage: Utah Valley University. The final details of his life unfolded like the script of A Nation on Edge. On September 10, 2025, Kirk addressed a crowd at Utah Valley University in Orem as part of a tour that combined open debate and performance, prove me wrong tables, confrontations polite or otherwise, and his constant reaffirmation that ideas should face off without fear. It was in that environment that a gunman, according to early reconstructions, fired from an elevated point. The bullet struck the speaker's neck. Panic, screams, frantic attempts to save him, and shortly after, confirmation of his death. Governor Spencer Cox called the attack a political assassination. The FBI released images of interest, and the search for a suspect became a regional priority. Once again, the nation stopped to ask how politics had crossed from words to bullets. The investigation and its ripples. The investigation began amid conflicting versions: reports of a shooter on a rooftop, mentions of a detained and later released person of interest, multiple hypotheses about motive. What became clear from the first moment was the institutional diagnosis: an attack with apparent political motivation, in a university setting, with the potential to leave scars far beyond the families directly affected. In response, universities began reevaluating protocols. Event organizers revisited routes, metal detectors, and security positions. The question no one wanted to ask, "Is it safe to speak?" was back at the center of American life.